Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome. Okay, so what I was going to do was ladder movement, but every method that I've looked at so far I just don't like, and I need to have the right animations to go along with it and so forth, so I'm not going to do it. Previously, what we had done was set it up to where when we're in this radius of a cover area, we drop down into cover, but we have not been able to do anything or shoot or whatnot, and wanted to be able to do that. We can jump back out of it. If we go to another one, we can do the same thing. We can get in cover behind it. We can't shoot over this one normally, but like I say, if we're in low cover like this, we can actually set it up to where we can shoot over it. As you can see, we're holding the rifle by the hip. I don't like this view system, the camera system, but then again, and I don't like pretty much just about anything about this animation system, but whatever. Animation notifies. What are they and how can we use them? And with the prototype weapons, if you were to look inside here and look at their animations, they already have animations set up for firing. So we'll fire up one of those. So when you're setting up the actual weapon itself to do the firing itself, it's got a particle effect and sound that's actually going along with that, using the animation notify right here. Alright, so my idiot neighbor is just returning home for no reason, just burping the throttle of his motorcycle. Love it. So if we wanted to do this with our own weapons or something for the player itself, then not a problem. Same thing with fire a pistol here. I didn't make those sound files. That's just what comes with that one. But what do we do for setting up animation notifiers for our character? Unfortunately, we're using the UE4 animation starter pack. So we'd already had set up the space bar to get into cover. We need to set up a system for being able to fire over. I'd also like to do prone. Let's see, while we're already crouching, are there any, let's see, crouched, it's firing from the hip, iron sights. For what we're looking for here is crouch walk iron sights. Walk right, walk left. Alright, even though we don't want our character to be walking, we can actually blend that and get rid of the bottom half of the movement and use the top half of the movement. Of course, it'd probably be easier just to create our own, chop it up, or create our own animation, or just take this animation right here and chop it up. What actually does the upper half of the body do? Nothing. So let's actually look at, so we got the walk. Is there a crouch? Yeah, right here. That's what we're looking for. Crouch, idle, rifle, iron sights. So first off, we want to be able to call this montage or this animation, and we'll make it into a montage to get them to actually do this and then drop back down again. So in our character, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two because they sucked. Alright, so we'll start off with left mouse button, zoom in a little bit, and we hit the left mouse button. We want to know, are we at cover? And we'll do a branch, and so this is specifically for while on cover. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go back and create that one as a montage. And we want crouch, idle, rifle, iron sights. I'm just going to right click, create animation montage. Leave the default name the way it is, save all, and try this a couple different ways. May end up having to go into the animation blueprint, and we're going to go in there anyway, but we may have to set up something in there. Get anim instance, and then montage play. Let's see if we can get this to work. So we know that we are crouching. Probably need to do something else here. Yeah. So when we're in this, we're at cover. Spacebar, we're at cover. We are crouching. We just are asking, are we at cover? And if true, if it's not doing the animation montage, then it may have to go into the animation blueprint and add something in there, because we left click, nothing is happening at this point, and we can actually see if it matters. We don't need you, and then slot, default slot. And let's see if that makes a difference. So get in here, we're on cover, there we go. So we do it, and then it just stays there. It doesn't actually come back from it. Of course, it's not really high enough to get over the top of it. So let's see if we can get it to undo. So we do the montage to get up over the barricade, and then we want to go ahead and go back to our regular thing. And unfortunately, from montage play, and let's try it a different way as well, without going through the anim instance and using montage play. Let's see if it works with montage. We just play montage. So then on completed, we can do something else. Will you work? So we'll go over here, we're on cover, we left click, we're doing our thing, we're running the montage, but we want to go back. There we go. The montage takes a while. So we could actually shorten and make another version of that montage and play animation so that we can fire and then go back. We want it to just be bang, click, and then go back. You see, now if we hold it, we're running the whole length of the animation. We don't need the whole length of the animation. So let's go back to our animation and animation montage. Um, and I'm going to duplicate the original here and fire over cover, and let's take a look at it. So we'll look right here, it's 6.3 seconds, a little bit too long. So let's go ahead and pause it. We need enough time to transition to it. So we can start off with 1 second, and we are at 1.001. That's close enough. We can right click and remove from 31 to 190. So now we have that 1 second. It's probably going to be too long, but that's fine. We'll do this, go back here, and then we'll go ahead and create that as a montage. And let's see what our character will do with that. Alright, so now we go over to our cover. We're on cover, bang, and we go back down, bang. Would eventually like to set it up to where as long as we're holding down the button, it's going to do the montage, and then whenever we let go, it stops. But we can trigger more things here. We can actually go into apply to asset. Come over cover. Technically this is a sniper rifle, so we would really want to just fire once and then come back over. But I really want to have it set to where as long as I'm holding the left mouse button, it's going to do this animation, and then whenever I stop, it's going to then, let go of the button, it'll go back down. So we could actually go back to the other one for right now, and then on released, we can go back to our regular anim instance class. I'm going to move this back over here, and we are using the UE4 anim blueprint. So see if that does what we want. Come over here, get on cover, let go. It's still playing that instance, that long deal. Probably not going to be what I want. I just wanted to actually do it and then let go. Do it, let go. So we're going to want that animation here to loop. You can see we jump right into it, and it plays this little short deal. Asset details. Be nice if there was just a one click here, and I'm sure there is, but set to loop, just see default slot there. You see with the other one, and we don't need this open right now, the fire over cover is just a 1 second animation, and I want to set it up to where it loops. I may actually have to change the method of doing my animation. So we left click, we're going to fire, and we want to be able to hold it up there. Let's look at something here. Montage. We want to play the montage itself and have it stay continuous until we actually stop. So we get on cover, shooting, but this is going to play the entire 6 second animation, and we don't want that. We want it to play the shorter animation and stay in that position. And honestly, could probably get away with just playing the animation, because that has looping built into it as an option. So we could actually do that, and fire over cover, and we have fire over cover montage. Let's actually try just the animation. So pop it on cover, do it. But see, if we do it, it snaps. So let's try it with the montage. Using a montage will blend in and blend out. So we pop in. Wow, that sucks. Because that's actually just jumping straight into, and probably would be better off. Yeah, because see how you get in the it's just resetting the animation. It absolutely looks like shit. Let me go about this a little bit different way. Create fire weapon and compile and save. And then we're going to go into our animation blueprint, and this is going to cycle the animation a little bit nicer. So we're crouched, and we're going to go from here and build a new state and so forth, go in and out of it. This animation blueprint is absolutely a frickin' train wreck. Get rid of that. Sorry, you guys know how my OCDs work and how things should look. And this is just absolutely disgusting. And this is from Epic, mind you. And they released something that's this horrible looking. Oh, good God Almighty. Yeah, having clean blueprints is more than just making it look pretty. It's a matter of, it's easier to go back in and work with stuff whenever you know. God damn it, Unreal Engine 4. That's one thing I don't like about Unreal, is it decided that it wants to do its swarm agent deal, which, if you're not in the know of what that is the way that they monitor the fact that you're doing something with Unreal Engine 4 and seeing what you're doing with it. So if you're making money out of it or whatever else, is they run that swarm agent and they check the status of what you're actually doing, and they're monitoring what the program is creating. In a sense, they're not stealing your data or anything like that. They're just finding out what you're doing essentially and uploading a little tidbit to them. But they do it in weird random intervals, it seems like. Alright, so that's cleaned up, and what we're wanting to do here is come off of this stuff and create one more new thing here. We'll add a new pin, and we'll drag down from here. But let's go ahead and get what is the name of the variable is fire weapon. So we'll grab this, get fire weapon. If it is true, then we're going to do this. So from there, we need a variable here. Firing weapon. Should be able to use this in multiple different ways. So let's go ahead and set that. Connect that in here. Connect that up to then 2. And we'll see if we can trigger it from there. Most times it works, some weird times it doesn't. So while we're crouching, we want to add a new state. And fire over cover. And to get into this state, we want to just grab that, plug it in there, and that'll work. Go back to here, put an animation on this, and this was fire over cover. We have to use an animation, not an animation montage. So let's grab that, put it in here, and whenever we go back to the regular crouch, to get out of that state, we want to grab firing our weapon, and not B for not Boolean, and plug that in there. So if we are not firing our weapon, then we transition back into our regular state. I know, I'm going around my asshole to get to my elbow here. So we first start this, we're going to set it, and it'll be true. But let's paste another version down here, so that's true. So are we at cover? Yes. So we're going to initiate this, and then when we release, we're going to set that to false. So get on cover, and we have a nice smooth transition. As long as we're holding down the left mouse button, we're going to be aiming down the sights. As soon as we let go, we go back to our regular, and it blends in, blends out. Of course, I'd rather have this to where his arms are a little bit elevated, and or maybe we stand up a little bit so we're not aiming through the cover. But the easiest thing to do would be to just change the height of that. So now our weapon release is there. Of course, you'd also want an aim space to go along with this. You see, we change that around. So let's actually go back in here and change the actual animation we're using. We can actually use the idle one. Crouch, idle, rifle, iron sights. And we'll just drag that one in here. It's going to be the same thing, but this one is actually a longer animation. So it's not going to do anything now because we're not on cover. Now we are. We have a smoother animation. But technically we should use this for aiming. So let's go ahead and set this to, instead of left mouse button, we'll change it to right mouse button. So this is the aim over, and then we can actually left click and fire from there. So now the left click is going to do nothing. But when we get over here, we snap in here, we right click, and of course this is where you'd want to go ahead and change your camera and set it to zoom. So now when we left click, we want to be able to do the fire. So yeah, we want to run our butthole to get to our elbow here to get to that point. But that's going to get us into the state where we should be able to fire now. So if we do left mouse button, that's when we're going to do our fire mechanism. and I'm pretty sure there wasn't actually a fire for this. So if we actually used the weapon itself, right now we have the weapon attached this way, and that's fine, but it's not actually going to function because it's just a static object that, well, even though it's a skeletal mesh, it's just a static object we're holding on to just to fulfill a need. So what we're going to have to do is change it to where it's an actual blueprint. So let's go back to our assets and make a new folder, weapons, and we're going to go ahead and create a new blueprint, actor, rifle, blueprint. So we open that up, and I'm going to close our character for now. We're going to go into our prototype weapons, and we're using the sniper rifle. So I'm going to select the mesh and add skeletal mesh, rifle, and I'm pretty sure that this is facing the wrong direction, but for now, let's see what's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Now we can actually spawn the weapon in on our character. So I'm going to find another clear spot over here. Custom event. Use sniper rifle. Right now we're not worried about replicating anything because we're just trying to get everything there and working correctly first. So when we use that, what we want to do is we want to spawn an actor from class. We need to know what actor. We're going to use our rifle blueprint, so that's what we're going to spawn. Now we need to spawn transform where we're going to put it. So what I'll do here is I'll grab reference to my mesh and get socket location or get socket transform, since we need a transform, and why not just grab a transform, right? Socket name. We created one, kiss my ass, called, no, we didn't call it kiss my ass. We called it main hand. So in theory now, if we call this event, and we might as well call this from event begin play. Yeah, you can go over there for a little bit. So we want to call this custom event of use sniper rifle. Just so we have it, use sniper rifle. And see if it actually spawns correctly. Yeah, see we didn't get it to attach to the player yet, but it spawned in pretty much the right location. So let's actually go ahead and attach to component, socket name, parent. It needs to be the mesh. So I'm just going to drag that over there, and socket name main hand, and I'm going to snap to target. So get in here, it is there, no problem. We do this, everything's fine. So now when we left click, we want to do a firing event, and we'll go from there. So can do a couple different things here. We are going to, and this is going to break shit, but We'll just leave it alone. And we'll probably change that variable to fire over cover. That way we know what it is in our animation blueprint and so forth, because that's going to cause problems. Over cover, because Unreal Engine 4. That's probably, it should be fine, but fuck you, Unreal Engine. You're so stupid. Any other time, it works just fine. So I have to take this, even though it sees the correct name there, and I have to delete that and put it back in again. Even though it's the same thing, it's named exactly the same way, I have to take it out and put it back in. Now, are you going to be good enough to work now, or are we going to still be broken? We're doing it. We stop. And now we want to be able to left click. So we're using the sniper rifle. That's great. We have it. And that's good to go. Now, I'm going to go back to, that's our right mouse button. That's setting us to aim over the barricade. Now we want to actually fire the weapon. Another thing we can actually do here is grab this and drag from here and promote the variable. And you always like to be a pain in the ass and do that. Active rifle, plug this in, and we'll plug this to here. Why did you not delete the other pin? Should have done that ahead of time, but let's make sure that's working correctly. Things good. We go out of that. We can't do anything else. That's awesome. All right, so we want to fire it. And this is where you're going to end up having to put a bunch of different variables in to make sure this works correctly. Otherwise, we want to use this right here. So let's do left mouse button, branch. Again, use this broken ass Boolean name. But we want to see if we are in this state right here, and then fire. We want to do something that comes from our actual rifle. So in this right here, I don't like all that crap. So let's see if it'll let us do what I want to do. Custom event, fire. I'll save. So whatever comes from here is what we want to get from there. So if we get this, in theory, we can grab that custom event and perform that action. So what we're going to do is have it actually play its animation. So if we get our rifle, play animation, and let's go back down to our animations for the prototype weapons and fire sniper rifle. Grab that, and there it is. So what did we forget? We're here. And we're working. We're not actually firing a projectile or anything just yet. We can actually have it spawn a projectile or just fire a line trace or what have you. Be more fun to actually do this for the grenade launcher, but also whenever we do this, we can also change our camera. And if we want to look at adding another camera, just do camera, ADS camera, turn off auto activate, compile, save. So now when we're doing this, we're aiming over cover. We want to actually change our cameras. So let's go ahead and get a reference to our player camera. Yeah, animation notifies come in quite handy for adding things like, particle effects, sound effects, things like that. So we're going to deactivate our regular camera, and we're going to activate our new camera. I haven't positioned the new camera yet, and I'm going to copy those and repaste them down here because we need to do the opposite. We want to deactivate the ADS camera and reactivate that when we stop aiming over the barricade. So let's grab our ADS camera. Where do we want to actually put that? Another trick you can do is actually put the rifle back in like we had before, and yeah, I wish I'd learned about them 2 years ago, 3 years ago. If we still had our rifle in here, we could actually position this camera. To do so, I'm actually just going to go ahead and, for now, position it here. You can also do 0.1, shrink your camera down. And you can actually put that to where, since all you're doing is changing the visible size in here of the camera, we'll actually move that around as we need to. Come over, pop in on cover. There, we're using our new camera. We stop, we go back. Even though we can't see our animations anymore, we can go back in and position the camera wherever we want to. We could even socket it onto the player. We could probably tell it to socket it to the weapon itself. But this is also a great spot where, if we wanted to, we can actually move the camera wherever we want, but add in the scope mask so that we have that view, and then be able to change the field of view of the camera so we can actually, with the mouse wheel, so we can set zoom mode. I'm going to keep playing around with the site, or the location of the camera. It's actually, I forgot which way I needed to go. I may actually go ahead and put the rifle back in here just so we can actually visibly see it, and then adjust from there. So if your weapon actually has iron sights, you can actually put that on there. So that's actually not going to look good. Alright, so we're at cover. Yeah, that's no bueno. Again, it's just a matter of playing with variables. And this scope you can't actually see through. So I think for now it would be best suited to have it closer to being in front of. You can also select owner no C and hide your weapon mesh and everything else. Let's see here. I'm just screwing around right now. I know there's other things that I can do to fix this. I want the rest of the world to see it, but you could actually do... let's see something. Let's just see. Set owner no C. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So let's try pulling our rifle back in here. Set owner no C. What that should do is hide it from us. And then we'll do... Screw you. Get over there. Now, will you work on the first try? I have never really messed with the owner no C thing, but essentially it didn't work. It's probably because it's also playing the animation. I think it'd be cooler if it was actually attached to the weapon itself and using true aim space. So that didn't work. Unless I've... Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of it. Let's look at the rifle itself. Where are... Right there, your skeleton. So you've got... grip, clip, bone. God, I wish people would stop calling it a damn clip. It is not a damn clip. Muzzle flash, ammo. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new socket and call this camera. I'm pretty sure this is not going to work. But how do you know if something's not going to work if you don't try, right? I want the camera to be pretty much right there in the center of the scope. And just a hair in front of. Again, pretty sure it's not going to work the way that I want to, but you'll never know. Get socket location. Did I call it camera or did I just call it cam? Camera, okay. And now I think I'm gonna need to transform. So what I want to do is see if it will let me socket the camera to this new rifle here. And in theory, I can just go ahead and pull this down here. Get a reference to the ADS camera. And damn. So parent there. And no. Socket that, and we want that to go on to here. Of course not. How the hell would you do that? Attach to component. And that. That. And then put the socket name in. Snap to target. Never tried this also. Like I said, I want to pop that camera directly onto the weapon. So get over here. There we go. So it's on there. I just need to change the position of it. It'd be great if you had iron sights and you want to look down your sights while you're in ADS mode. So just need to go in here and even though it's roughly in the right spot, let's go ahead and raise it up to pretty much there. Like I said, if you're not going to use this, if you're not going to use the actual iron sights that are actually on the weapon itself, it's also great for pistols, especially whenever you got a namespace set up to it, so you can actually go about doing that. So come over, jump on cover, and now that I know that I can do it, I'm going to undo it. I know, kind of pointless, right? But somebody may want to do that, and I know I may want to do that on something else later. So we're going to do our same thing with our cameras, and our camera here is set to there. I'm going to go ahead and just move it. So we're looking over it. We'll probably downsize the particle effects on that, but I didn't make them. And the other thing here too is like with the rocket launcher, if we're using the rocket launcher and we actually want to see, we can actually create a blueprint for the rocket launcher and then spawn the rocket coming out of it. Just going to do really quickly the projectile for the rocket. Blueprint, actor, rocket, P for a projectile. These guys are good enough for now. Then we're going to go back to here. Yeah, get a static mesh. So we got a static mesh for it. That's fine. So we'll grab the static mesh and add a component. And I'm just going to rename you. Rocket. Now, yes, you are in the center. If it had fins, it would be neat to add rotation to it. You're not going to see it. There's no point in adding it. So I want to go ahead and push this up to the default scene and then add in projectile movement. We're going to start off really, really stupid slow so we can take a look at it. Well, not as stupid slow, but let's go in here and here's our spawn. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And it just falls. So with it being the root, we can make sure here at block all dynamic. Do you actually even have collisions? It's something helpful to know. Collision. You have no collision whatsoever. You piece of shit. Alright, collision. Alright, so we'll add a capsule collision. Is perfectly good enough. Now let's see what happens. Boop. So, like I said, stupid slow. Our road is a little bit on the, well, stupid side. Boop. Okay, there's our rocket. My own custom sound effects too, right? So, that's that. It just falls to the ground. We can actually go ahead and increase the speed. Projectile gravity. Let's go ahead and set it to 0. So for right now it has no gravity. And see how that changes things. There we go. It actually moves. I'm going to go ahead and slow it down immensely. So we can actually just look at it. And we'll speed it up as we go. It's a really fast rocket, isn't it? No, boom, it hit me. So it stopped. So that's it. And once it stopped, all right, we can't jump. For right now, also, I'm going to go back to my regular player. So I can jump and I can stand on it. Yay, there's much rejoicing. Alright, so what kind of particle effects do we have for these? Oh, that's cool. We already have tracers here for our pistol, shotgun, blah, 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 blah. So rocket launcher, muzzle flash, or trail, that's what we want. So let's go ahead and add in particle system. Wow, that looks hideous. But whenever it's moving at speed, it might not be that bad. So let's go ahead and speed it up a little bit. With no gravity, we'd want gravity so that it actually has an arc to it, but that does look a lot better. So this is going through the air. It doesn't look as weird. It's okay. It hit our fence back here, and it hasn't done anything. So we need it to do something whenever it actually hits. And we could do a couple different things. Let's go ahead and add in... You don't have to do it this way, but I don't know why I've been doing it this way. But putting an actual capsule collision in front of it, so whenever it does interact or hit something or collide, we'll do on component begin overlap, and probably going to have to come back and add something in here. We'll see. Destroy actor. For now, let's make it go away and see if that does anything. So when it overlaps, we want it to go away. And that didn't happen. Block all dynamic. You see, we want something to happen whenever it impacts with anything. So that may not be the correct route here. Nope, not that. Block all dynamic. Let's try it without the sphere portion here. You'd want that because if it hits a character of some sort, you want to do damage. So overlap, other overlap component. Primitive component object reference. And I'll come back to that. We want it to just go away off of just basically hitting anything. We want it to play a particle effect, explode, do all kind of magic cool stuff. And it is not because of our little capsule component. That we added, the sphere collision there. So hit this, block all dynamic. Yay, and nothing happens. On component hit. Alright, well, let's just do... computer, primitive component object reference. Yeah. I'm just spitballing right now. Pretty much done everything I wanted to do for the video, and we're just wrapping up now. Projectile movement. Is homing projectile is something that I need to look at later on. So how do you set something as your homing target? Would you assign cast to character and have it just go towards any character or a specific character with a flag or what have you? And it's something I need to look at. Because if we did this, cast to character, then, you know, it's going to look for a character. And then if you did destroy actor, it will destroy itself. But before you destroy actor, you'd also want to do like add the particle effect and things like that. So this is going to not do anything whenever it actually hits that. We wanted to hit us. So I'm just grab another one here, rocket. Make sure we put it on 0, 0, and 50. And rotate it towards us. And 50 is not high enough. Let's go 100. Get rid of you. So when it hits a player, it's hitting our capsule component and stopping there. I hate stupid capsule component the way it works. So when this hits that, it should, bam, go away. But it's going casting to a character. Why is it not destroying itself? It shouldn't matter if it's a player or any other character. It should do its thing. This is the point where I get pissed off and say the hell with it. For now, event begin play. Could just do set lifespan, but I want to go ahead and make it do something. Even if it's wrong, because what usually works, it works every time, and I have no problem doing suddenly just doesn't want to work. Particle effects. Do we have? Yep. Launcher explosion. Spawn emitter at location. We'll use the one that we had selected. Location we're going to use is the rocket location. Plug that in there, and screw it, we'll play that. Play sound at location Use the same location. That sound cue. And destroy actor. So that's what should happen whenever it goes off. And what you'd want to do is have this as a custom event. So you can run this. In other words, now whenever it hits something, you want it to do this. You don't want it off of event begin play, but since Unreal Engine 4 is being weird, or I'm just being old and forgetful, actually don't want the delay in there, sorry. On component begin overlap. To ensure that we are getting a solid thing here, we want to then explode and apply damage. You can actually apply damage in here and then run the damaged actor would have to go to there, but we're just going to plug it in here. Damage is going to be 50. So it hits and absolutely is. Oh, I'm sorry. By default, Unreal Engine 4 our mesh is set to character. It needs to be block all dynamic. That is so stupid. And yet you are still not working. On component begin overlap with the player, you should explode and do damage. Let's turn off collision on the rocket. It goes right through us. It's not what we want. And even though that's set to block all dynamic on the sphere, this should be block all dynamic. But what's happening is the collision is stopping it from happening. So we're going to two-second delay and boom, self-destruct. If you just didn't set lifespan, it just goes away. So that's what's supposed to happen. And we're on our other character. Now if we change back to our player base, we don't need our player base. Our other character. We're on cover. we go into our mode here. So it all works. Not what I wanted, but it works good enough. The animation notifies. Basically, if you're doing it for your character, you can go into just a quick overview here. There are some fires here. Prone fire. Like say with this right here, you can see that our character is doing that animation. So let's actually pause it. We want a muzzle flash to happen. We're not actually using this animation, so but putting it in there, all you would do is just right click where you want it to happen, add notify, play sound, or particle effect, and then you go into the actual blueprint itself, and actually you can add stuff to that. Now if you wanted to, you could also add in another track and add in a second. So at the same time, or your particle effect, play sound. So you have your play sound and play particle effect. And if you were to go into your, let's make sure we save that, animation blueprint. Alright, event animation notify idle start jump. Alright, because we're not using that animation. But I guess I could have put it on one that we're actually using. But I'll actually come up with a neater, cleaner overall. I will create a separate project just for all this stuff. And I guess since nobody's jumped on the team so far to do the gaming and jumping on for discussing back and forth, creating these features, I'm going to give it time for people to kind of get on board with this. The whole point of this new test series was to actually come through and see if we can get enough people joining in to actually play the game, discuss the game, and then go in Unreal Engine 4 and start creating these features. So it's either going to work, I'll give it a week, and if it doesn't work, then I go back to doing what I was doing. And the other format that I was going to look at doing was to actually on one stream just discuss features of what we want to do for the week, and then I'll do short videos that I can release during the week, and then at the end of the week, like Friday or whatever else, do another stream and discuss what happened over the other week. So like on Saturday, discuss what happened throughout the week on what was done, and then on Sunday do a stream where discuss what we're going to do over the next week, and then I can either just make short videos, 10, 15, 20, 30-minute videos, and schedule them to go online first thing in the morning or whatever, Monday through Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or whatever schedule that I come up with, and actually just create those features during and release them throughout the week. Who knows? Can limit my work time to 3 days a week if I just do it that way. But I try to do these live streams so get people to jump in, talk, ask questions, and work things out. And if not, I just sit here and spitball half the damn time. The free for the month stuff did finally drop. Go to Marketplace. Otherwise, also, I'm just going to go back to working on my project. And if you go to free for the month, I've already added them to my, collection. That didn't cost anything. They're all free for the month, so might as well, grab them, even if you don't think you're going to use them. I am going to take a look at the tropical ocean tool because I think that has some potential. Nature package I haven't looked at yet. Landscapes I haven't looked at any of them, but I'm probably going to look at the tropical ocean because supposedly it adds waves and you know that kind of stuff. There's some preview videos you can watch with it. Worth checking out. They're free. Semi-auto landscape shoreline detection for wave generation. Full tutorial blueprints added. Material parameters are now located back into their material instance. Yeah, it's worth taking a look at. What do you got to lose? It's free. So check out the free for the month. Like I said, I'm going to peek at that one. I really don't have much use for the rest of them, but who knows? Alright, thanks for watching, and I'm going to get something to eat. See ya.